March 25, 2026, 2:47 a.m. local time. Air raid sirens are screaming across Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Beersheba simultaneously. Not one missile, not two. 5 separate ballistic missile impacts within a 38-minute window. Wave 80. 80 consecutive waves of ballistic missile strikes in 26 days of war. Israel's $12 billion multi-layered air defense network just watched Iranian K-bar missiles punch straight through and detonate in the heart of 3 major cities. This is not a malfunction, this is a pattern. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why Israel's defensive math no longer adds up. What I am about to show you will not be covered by mainstream media in this level of detail. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps announced Wave 80 of Operation True Promise 4 at exactly 0930 UTC on March 25th. They released strike footage. They named the targets: Safed Military Command in northern Israel, Tel Aviv intelligence facilities, Beersheba logistics centers, and 4 separate U.S. military bases across Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain, all hit in the same operational window. While President Trump was publicly claiming that Iran wants to make a deal, that their navy is gone, their air force is destroyed, Iran responded by launching the 80th consecutive wave of precision missile strikes. The contradiction is the entire story. Wave 80 hit the Israeli Military Command Center in Safed, 17 kilometers from the Lebanese border. This facility coordinates all defensive operations against Hezbollah and manages the Northern Air Defense Network. The IRGC described the target as smashed under heavy and sustained missile attacks. Wave 80 was a coordinated saturation attack designed to overwhelm point defense systems by forcing them to engage multiple incoming threats simultaneously across a 200-kilometer spread. The IRGC confirmed 3 missile types: K-bar, a third-generation solid-fuel medium-range ballistic missile with a 1,450-kilometer range, a maneuverable re-entry vehicle capable of terminal phase course corrections to evade interceptors. The warhead carries 550 kilograms of high explosive. Imad, a liquid-fueled variant with 1,700-kilometer operational range, carrying 750 kilograms of high explosive with satellite-aided guidance. And Sejil, a 2-stage solid fuel system exceeding 2,000 kilometers with a higher apogee trajectory designed specifically to defeat missile defense architectures through high-speed re-entry at Mach 8 and mid-course maneuvering capability. The K-bar launches from mobile platforms in 6 minutes, shorter than the time Israeli surveillance drones need to relay targeting data. The Imad's range allows launch from deep inside Iran beyond Israeli F-35 strike radius without refueling. The Sejil's 2-stage configuration creates a steeper descent angle, complicating intercept geometry for David's sling and arrow systems. The confirmed impacts were not limited to Israel. Ali al-Salem Air Base in Kuwait, Arif Jan Logistics Hub, Azraq Base in Jordan, and Sheikh Issa Air Base in Bahrain were all struck. This is the first time Iran publicly confirmed simultaneous strikes on 4 different U.S. installations in a single wave. Iran is demonstrating it can force the United States to defend multiple dispersed assets across a 1,200-kilometer arc simultaneously. But here is what the IRGC did not say, and what Israeli authorities refused to confirm: how many missiles actually penetrated Israel's defense grid and detonated on target. If Wave 80 followed the same intercept failure rate as the previous 72 hours, between 15 and 22% of launched missiles are getting through. When you fire 12 to 18 missiles per wave, that means 2 to 4 warheads are impacting Israeli territory every single night. Over 26 days, that compounds into a casualty curve Israel's emergency services cannot manage indefinitely. Wave 79, executed 14 hours before Wave 80, targeted what the IRGC called secure locations of Israel's intelligence apparatus in north and central Tel Aviv. The targets included military support centers in Ramat Gan, the Negev Logistics Center in Beersheba, and intelligence facilities in central Tel Aviv. Israeli media reported explosions in residential areas. Footage verified by news agencies showed building damage consistent with warhead detonation, not interceptor debris. When an arrow interceptor destroys a missile, the debris pattern is scattered, and the explosion occurs at altitude. When a warhead detonates on impact, the blast crater is localized. The footage from Wave 79 shows the latter. Israel's official response confirmed that projectiles from Iran were detected and defensive systems were activated. No casualty figures, no damage assessment, no confirmation of intercept success rates. During the June 2025 war, Israel's military held daily press briefings and released intercept statistics within hours. In the current conflict, 26 days in, there have been 0 official statements quantifying interceptions versus impacts. The economic cost is measurable and unsustainable. Each arrow interceptor costs approximately $3 million per unit. Each David Sling interceptor costs between $1 million and $2 million, depending on the variant and configuration. Iron Dome interceptors used against shorter-range threats cost $50,000 to $80,000 each. If Israel fires an average of 4 to 6 interceptors per incoming ballistic missile to maximize kill probability, and Iran launches 15 missiles per wave, Israel spends $60 million to $270 million per wave on Arrow and David's Sling interceptors alone. That does not include Iron Dome expenditure against drones and cruise missiles launched in the same operational window. Multiply that by 80 waves and the interceptor expenditure curve approaches $5 billion. Add in system maintenance, launcher replacement for damaged units, crew training costs, and emergency logistics, and the real figure is closer to $7 billion over 26 days. Iran's cost per missile is $200,000 to $500,000. At 15 missiles per wave over 80 waves, Iran spent $240 million to $600 million total. Israel is spending 8 to 10 times more defending than Iran spends attacking. And now, the contradiction that defines this war. On the same day Iran launched Wave 80, President Trump stated, "We're in negotiations right now. Their navy's gone. Their air force is gone. Their communications are gone. We literally have planes flying over Tehran. They can't do a thing about it." Within 90 minutes, Iran released footage of Wave 80 missile launches. The IRGC's response was direct. The strategic power you used to boast about has now turned into a strategic defeat. Do not label your defeat as an agreement. The era of your promises has come to an end. You're negotiating with yourselves. There will be no more talk of your investments in the region, nor will you ever see the former prices of energy and oil again. That is not the rhetoric of capitulation. 80 waves in 26 days averages just over 3 waves per day. During the June 2025 war, Iran sustained 2.5 waves per day for 12 days before pausing. The current campaign has exceeded that tempo for twice as long with no indication of stockpile depletion. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated that Iran produces 100 ballistic missiles per month from multiple production facilities scattered across the country. That production rate, if accurate, means Iran can replace every missile it fires within a 30-day cycle, while also expanding its overall stockpile. The United States, by Rubio's own admission during a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, manufactures approximately 6 to 7 interceptors per month total across all production lines for export to allied nations, including Israel, Ukraine, and Gulf partners. Even if all of that production capacity were redirected exclusively to Israel and Ukrainian shipments were halted, it would not be enough to replace Israel's current expenditure rate. The arithmetic is brutal. Iran fires 15 missiles per day on average. The U.S. produces 7 interceptors per month. Israel is burning through defensive missiles at a rate 64 times faster than the entire Western defense industrial base can manufacture them. That gap cannot be closed through emergency production increases, because interceptor manufacturing requires specialized components with 18 to 24-month lead times for critical guidance systems and rocket motors. What happens when the interceptors run out? At current rates, Israel's Arrow stockpile, estimated at 40 to 60 missiles pre-war, is functionally depleted. David's Sling, with 120 to 150 interceptors before the war, is likely below 50% capacity. U.S. emergency resupply shipments are pulling from American strategic reserves, also supporting Ukraine. The interceptor shortage is forcing Israel to make triage decisions about which missiles to engage and which cities to leave exposed. During Wave 79, a missile carrying a 100-kilogram warhead struck a Tel Aviv residential neighborhood without interception. The official explanation was that the missile was assessed as likely to land in an open area. It hit an apartment building. 9 people were wounded. Wave 80 is the continuation of a pattern that started February 28th, when the U.S. and Israel launched a decapitation strike. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed. His son Mojtaba was installed within 8 days. The command structure did not collapse. It transferred power and accelerated operations. 80 waves later, Iran is launching precision strikes with the same frequency as day one. The economic shockwave is global and accelerating. Brent crude crossed $150 per barrel on March 24th, up from $68 before the war began, a 69% increase in 26 days. The Strait of Hormuz has been effectively closed to non-Iranian and non-Chinese shipping for 26 consecutive days, blocking the transit of approximately 20 million barrels of oil per day. That represents roughly 1/5 of global oil supply. The International Energy Agency warned that if the closure extends past 30 days, global diesel and jet fuel inventories will drop below critical thresholds, triggering rationing in European and Asian markets. Airlines are already reducing flight schedules. Shipping companies are rerouting tankers around Africa's Cape of Good Hope, adding 14 days and $2 million per voyage to transportation costs. Kuwait has halted all crude production, approximately 2.7 million barrels per day, due to lack of export capacity through blocked waterways. Qatar declared force majeure on liquefied natural gas contracts on March 2nd and has not resumed exports, removing 77 million tons per year of LNG from global markets. European natural gas futures spiked 18% before partially retreating. Saudi Arabia's Ras Tanura refinery, processing 550,000 barrels per day, sustained damage from Iranian drone strikes and remains offline, with repairs estimated to take 6 to 8 weeks. The financial cost to the United States is $891 million per day, according to Pentagon assessments. Over 26 days, the cumulative cost is approaching $23 billion. Iran's cumulative expenditure is $600 million maximum, less than 3% of U.S. spending. The casualty figures are mounting. Iran's Red Crescent reported that U.S. and Israeli strikes damaged or destroyed 82,000 civilian structures. At least 1,320 Iranian civilians were killed, including 194 children. In Israel, 10 civilians are confirmed killed, with over 1,600 hospitalized. In Lebanon, Israeli strikes killed more than 101 people and displaced over 1 million. 26 days in, neither government has defined what victory looks like. Trump claims Iran is defeated, while Iran launches Wave 80. Netanyahu says Israel is converting military gains into agreement while refusing to publish damage assessments. Iran's new supreme leader stated the republic will not capitulate and will continue until complete victory. No one has defined what that means. Share this video with every person who still believes this war has an exit strategy. 80 waves of ballistic missile strikes. A $12 billion defense grid penetrated repeatedly. Interceptor stockpiles are depleting faster than they can be replaced. Oil above 115. Hormuz closed for 26 days. 82,000 structures damaged in Iran. Over 300 civilians died. A new supreme leader installed who shows no indication of seeking terms. A U.S. president claiming victory while deploying additional combat brigades. Wave 80 is not the end. It is proof Iran can sustain this tempo indefinitely as long as production exceeds interception capacity. Iran manufactures 100 missiles per month. The U.S. manufactures 7 interceptors. Do that math over 6 months, over a year, and tell me how Israel's defensive strategy survives. Drop your analysis in the comments. Who is actually winning this war? The side launching 80 consecutive waves, or the side spending $23 billion in 26 days to defend against a $600 million campaign? And if you want to stay updated on what happens when Wave 90 hits, when Wave 100 hits, when the interceptors run out and the missiles keep coming, make sure you are subscribed because this story is far from over.